end, you are that realization when you let go of your identity, when you let go of your good and bad, right and wrong, all those things. So this is a space not to look at me. It is a space to rediscover the self after many, 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 many layers being taken out. So today I'm going to pinpoint into these areas that you need to look into if you're coming into the surface. Now, the more you have realized the grip that the world has or what you have into the world, slowly those claws start coming out, coming out. So object to object, the identity is still subject to an object. You create space. You create space for things to flow. And that deep inside, suddenly you will fall into that space. Uh, so just observe the teaching. It's not going to the mind, but it just bypass the mind, bypass the body, and just drop it. So be a witness for whatever comes and go. Don't come and go with it. Just stay tuned. Now, saying that, I will move the camera towards Darren. So you find a space just so that you can relax the body. Whether it's you take a gentle erect to the spine, and you gently start breathing into the count of 4, gently creating the space of the energy and the intention of the pause of a count of 4, and very gently breathing out into the count of 4, and then very gently creating a space into the same space of the breath again into the count of 4. So you're slowly coming into that space. Now, today's class is that we are taking you into the space of finding and living in the truth. But in that truth is, if you're having attachment, psychosomatically, a thought, and we put this attention towards the outside. Now, in the sense of even family relationships, all these are outside. So now, every breath out, you have to take a step back and start giving that intention into a space that you're no longer seeking into an object, seeking into outside. So this breath of count of 4, holding into the count of 4, breathing out into the count of 4, creating space. Very gently become conscious about the sound. Observe without identifying it with the sound. Thought without identifying it as my thought. Now this creates a space for you to see where things stems from and where things perceive from and where things goes away. So use this as a deep inquiry. Whatever you're going through, whether it's a difficulty, whether it's a pain, whether it's a health issue, just be in that present moment of your awaken. So that has a different energy of enriching the practice. Now shoulders very gently roll back, releasing the tension that you are holding, or maybe releasing the tension of a lost confusion, anxiety. Now, a few times roll the shoulders back because the spine and neck has this anxious energy and you need to release them. Very gently bring that head back a slight bit and elongate that cervical spine a little bit. Now take a moment to see the life as a gift, but life is also an experience, but life is also challenging. Like any seed is going through this for the transformation. Now, when it is completed as a big tree, once it started as a seed, so this can help you to navigate your own path and give you that invaluable lessons. So nothing is against you. Nothing is only against if you're still identifying yourself as this. Now stretch the neck to the right very gently. Hide as. Bring the neck into the center and stretch onto the other side. Now take a deep breath in. Arms stretch onto the shoulder heights. Give a good rotation to the wrist. Rotation to the clench and unclench the fingers. Now roll the shoulders back while you're stretching out as much as possible. So you can do it into the front and doing into the back, but align the back of the neck with the understanding and realization that you can release things now. Very gently, arms raised onto the crown, interlacing the fingers, palms facing up. Now push the bum down, tuck the tailbone in, and bring that arm try the lock behind your head. So this will release the tension of the psychosomatic. You're not bypassing any emotion, but you're not also identifying with the stage you are in at the moment. Now breath out, spread the wings wider and twist the spine to the right side. Very gently pull the belly in and take a couple of breaths more and overlook into the right shoulder. Now very gently bring this natural balance for the inquiry, for the awakening. Now you can release things that no longer serve you. This purpose, including the trauma, including the past, including the future. Now breathing in back into the center, arms raised onto the crown, interlacing the fingers, palms facing up. Now keep that energy of the pyramid very gently spreading. Now spread on the out breath onto the other side. See, you can release the tension of the lost, the confusion, feeling lost, feeling alone, feeling you're the ones who only knows. So very gently see the mind creeps in different stages, breathing in back into the center. Now change the leg formation very gently. Now take a deep breath in, push the belly into the front, shoulders roll back, tongue roll up onto the upper palate, the seating cow. Breath out, seating cat, anus lock, navel lock, throat lock. Hold the bandha. Breathing in, tongue roll up. onto the upper palate. Energy very gently gazing. Breathe out. Releasing the tension in the mind that suffers along with the body. Now, see, for the ego, suffering is important because it will go into the polarity of to be on the opposite. Now, back into the center. Now, very gently, you're releasing the tensions, releasing the shields, and becoming awakened into the mystery of the life. Now, very gently, take a deep breath in, and now get that ankles not to cross. So you're sitting on more sukhasana, maybe one ankle in front of the others, maybe the other ankle is behind. Now take a deep breath in, breath out. Very gently bring your palms into the front of the floor. Very gently start walking. Now, when you're walking, let your hip stay with the gravity. Let your bum stay with the gravity. Let your knees stay with the gravity. Now spread your fingers and very gently see whether there's unnecessary struggle in anywhere as a protection to your ego, to the identity. Now, any struggling is coming because it's struggling from the ego. Now, at that very moment, the difficulty itself is a gift, isn't it? It is coming from the space of the soul. Now, take a deep breath in, very gently coming back. Now, just observe the body, examine the body without being personal with your story. Are you holding any tension? Are you holding any struggles? And what does your awareness brings you? Is it brings you to look at it furthermore? So by looking at it, and you're not becoming personal about it, and you're no longer fixated or obsessed with fixing this. Now let go the logical tool away because it's a part of the mind. And just observe. At that very moment, you see the liberation. You create a flow to move through the objects in your own mind and in your own body. Now take a deep breath in, very gently. Bring your left foot into the back, and your right foot is in the space of the pigeon. Take a deep breath in, arms raised onto the ground. Now feel the balance without holding and forcing the balance. Take a deep breath out, roll forward and drop the arms, walk the palms, elbows drop. Now you could see the breath, the body, the mind, all in that embodied spiritual process. Authentic presence, even in witnessing a single breath. Now you're elevating what you already were, but you have a different courage. Because there's a healing inside, healing understanding, the healing of a response. Now you could see, even if you look at social media or addicted to all these news, there is an inner strength to stay in the space of your realization. You can see between the lines and coming to your own conclusion rather than someone forcing you to. Breathing in very gently now, coming back. Observe the body from the head to the toe. Observe the body from the space. Then you can really work this out. The enlightenment is more of a realization now, especially through if you're breaking through those old entrenched patterns of things. Breathing into a plank now. Now, the importance of healing from the trauma, importance of healing from something. When you realize, is it really forcefully you have to heal? Or it's a process for you to realize furthermore? That's a spiritual assistance. Now, the pain is something personal or not personal? Because it only can have a past and a future. Can it live in this present moment? Now, very gently drop the knees. Give a good rotation to the hips. Wider rotation to the other side. And breath out. Bring the buttocks onto the heels, sole of the feet opening. Observe even the space of the objects on the toes where there's undercurrent of anxiety generating in the bridge of the foot. So let the consciousness and the breath be the openness. When you're open, you attract something further than what you thought. Because it's a vibration. It's a solution. It is openness. Now, palms facing down. Take a deep breath in, crawling and bringing the chest into the front. Now drop the belly, soften the hips. Palms onto the floor, elbows onto the floor. Squeeze slightly the back of the shoulder, breathing in into a gentle cobra, and then drop the shoulders and open up the back of the neck into the space of the third eye. Gently allow your breath to grow into the body. Allow the breath to leave space for the magic, the mystery to happen. Because confusion is restricted. It has limitation. Fear is restricted. Greed is restricted. Or look into the right side. Breathing in back into the center. or looking onto the other side. Back to the center. Third eye land on your hands. Armpits open. Now you could see that you have bridged the gap between breath, body, mind, spirit. And your capacity is beyond the limitation of a body and a mind. Now very gently bring those palms where the elbows are. Breathing in into an up face. Shoulders roll back, opening up. So don't escape anything. Huh? No bypassing the emotions. Just observe it. Not identified by it. Breathe out towards the down face. Now your down face can be a very gentle, easier way to come. Allows you to tune furthermore into the body, furthermore into the foot, furthermore into the legs, arms. But it is to keep you connected, but not to identify. This is not about being identified and being identified and blaming the body parts, not owning anything, just being authentic. Now lift up onto the toes. Lift up, lift up, lift up. Your shoulders are back. Breathe out, drop onto the heels. Breathing in, lift up, lift up, lift up, lift up, lift up. Bum up to the ceiling. Breathe out, push down. Now left foot come back into the space and create the pigeon pose. Now take a deep breath in, arms raised onto the crown. Spend some time in the space of the crown, how the body, think as your hips, as your feet now. Breath out, spread the wings wider, walk those palms into the front, leading you towards that openness. Clench and unclench, see whether there's anything that the fingers are holding. Bring the space of the heart to understand this. Now observe whether there is a grief, whether there is a loss that comes into you. So now, but you're looking from a settled place, so therefore you're not identifying by it. But your shadow self has been hiding from your space of healing. So this is really what you were doing, trying to be busy, trying to achieve things, can be also a distraction opposite to the healing, opposite to the realization. Now it's time to let go of certain things, another layer. Now that painful past, are you ready to let go to rest? Or you still want to carry a dead past? Now that promising future, is it heavy or is it understand to let it be or let it go? What's happening? What's happening? Now observe your long-term commitment or condition to your identity, condition to your story. That as soon as you go and introduce to someone, Are you committed to those conditions? Are they long term? Are they middle term? Are they short term? Inquire yourself. Each moment, the more inquiry becomes, you could see that your identity cannot land anywhere. You're so tuned. Take a deep breath in very gently and back. Shoulders relax. Stay tuned and listen what your guidance is happening without a language. Language is still for the mind. You can use the mind, but you don't get used by the mind. Plank. Now in the plank, left foot in the plank, so your hips are still low. Left leg up, flex, left foot down, right leg up, flex, down. Now strong on the pelvic floor. Drop the knees, stretch the spine, palms facing up. Back of the neck, relax. Now, whatever that is delaying you or has not manifested, do you see it as a roadblock? Do you see it as now as a block? Do you see it as an opposing force? Do you think as a negative? Now, if your grip is still in the world and still you have a space of forcing things, be aware of it. Because remember, you're moving the spirit through a body and a mind. So you do lose energy. You do keep on forgetting. Time to time, you will blame the world. You will blame the others. But now, before long time, before half of the life, all of life end, you understand who you are. So commit to your awakening. Find a neutral place to work towards. Palms facing down, crawling and bringing the chest into the front, breathing in into up face. Breathe out towards the down face. Breathing in, drop the knees, stretch the spine, crawling and coming back, breathing in into up face. Breathe out towards the down face. Breathing in into a plank. Now left foot over the right, opening up the left chest. Now, if this is too hard, you can drop that bottom knee onto the floor. Now stretch the arm up if you find it. Now keep those hips stronger, elongate the spine, give the rotation to feel the flexibility and the strength of the body. Left without identification, touch the floor. Now right foot over the left, opening up the right chest. Now work with yourself. The difficulty is not against you. Right reaching into the back, touch the floor. Now very gently flat, drop the knees. Now very gently stretch the spine into the back. Now the practice on a physical level, just observe if the difficulty has come as evident. But observe is the mind is in the space of worry because it's coming from the space of the identification. If it is coming from the place of the identification, when you perform the practice of the physicality, is there underlying layer of anxiety still? Now you have to understand, you don't give up on the consciousness or hope. You just give up the worry. You give up the fear. You give up the greed. But to a very conscious level, of a realized level, there is a genuine surrender. But this is the time you need to back off or let things to unfold without your intervention. Whatever it is. Now very gently wake up into the space of the cat. Breathe out, bum flat, breathing in, tongue roll up onto the upper palate. Now take a deep breath in and come into a neutral spine. Neutral spine, so the head is not dropped, but head is not looking into the front. Now left leg stretch into the back, right arm stretch into the front. Now take a deep breath in without tightening your hamstring. Right arm reaching up and holding onto the left ankle. Now look up. Now take a deep breath in. Keep the breath engagement. Relax. If you're finding yourself caught up in the posture, overloaded, confused, unable to commit the posture, just take a deep breath. Connect your inner self. Come back to the posture again. Now relax completely, palm onto the floor, knee onto the floor, breathe out into the space of the head. Breathing in into the space of the cow. Neutral spine. Now you perform the posture onto the other side with your own time. Now, does the performance of the posture effortlessly come, graciously come from your inner self or the body self? When you're working yourself, don't give up. This is just another reminder, another layer. Or looking onto the left. Take a deep breath in, stretch that leg, stretch that arm, completely come into the space of the cat. Now give a good rotation, release any tension that you're still holding, whether it's in the manipulation of a comparison, belittlement, a judgment. Now give a good rotation to the other side. Push the hips into the front, into the back. Release the tension. Now, the capacity to recognize the value of wisdom, does it come from the mind? Does it come from the body? Now, to see yourself clearly, hear the truth beneath the lies that you have heard. Now, let this be your awakening. And if you want to claim somewhere yourself, claim that space. So now collectively you can be unconscious, or collectively you can be conscious. But this is something beyond that. But this is the time also you are awakening onto the fear of your body to deny your spirit, fear of your mind and denying the spirit, fear of your thoughts, denying the awakening. Now take a deep breath in, gently coming back onto the knees. Take a deep breath in. We'll stretch our wings now, but I'm reaching into the front after the sitting. No, onto the cat, onto the space of the cat, neutral spine. Right arm reaching up. Up. Right arm reaching under the left armpit. So very gently stretch those wings. Even with those invisible wings in your back, let them stretch. Into that sacred grace that your consciousness elevate you. Let your consciousness and realization raise you into that liberation and acceleration. So now you can see this demand of your ego, even to the spiritual practice, or the world has to give it to you. So you want world to be a perfect place. So be very careful of this mind. Huh? Even on a spiritual level, it can totally send you astray. Now very gently coming back. Breathe out to the cat. Breathing in into the cow. Into the neutral spine. Now very gently onto the other side. Stretching the wings. Let the breath be the perfect current. Under the armpit. So just observe the rattling of the mind cage. In confusion, in doubt, in fearful. Now, your ego is a self-imposed prison of the mind. Lock you, whether it's a thought, whether it's an emotion, whether it's a fear. Now you're elevating your consciousness, always open these cages. Your awareness. Be aware that you are aware, it will open furthermore. Now, all this time, all these habits, all this programming, you don't see the spirit. Spirit is opposite to that. It is field of wildness, free, whispering. It will always call you to step into life with it. It has more relationship to you than rest of the world, rest of the family, rest of everything that you think that is important to you. Let it rattle more. Breathing in very gently, coming back. In out, there is a new liberation in your heart. It doesn't have to be pain and grace. Now you can see for the first time the liberation. The heart is vibrating on a different level. Now you could see the mind cannot hold it again. Mind cannot put it in a safe place. Neutral spine. Do good rotation to the hips. Wider rotation to the other side. Push the hips into the front. Now push the hips into the back. Now knees wide apart. Wide apart, wide apart. Push the hips from that knees wide apart into the front. And push back. Knees wide apart. Palms facing up. Now see the rattling in the cages. See the rattling in the body. See the rattling in the thoughts. When the rattle happens, as I said in the start of the class, would you go back to your identity? Would you go back into your old fear? Would you go back into the old belief system, the judgment? See, the soul wants to thrive, and the body and the mind is a small container for it. So it gets bounded. It wants to break those doors. It wants independence. It doesn't want a concept. It doesn't want an idea. You may be spiritually awakened, but you'll be still based on fear, dominance, control. So just observe these layers still coming back to you. Tune into the frequency of the soul, not onto the static of a fearful mind. Now very gently wake up the spine, knees wide apart. Shoulders relax. Shoulders roll back. Now twist the spine to the right and holding on to a back heel or a back foot, and lift up the hips and let the left arm reaching up. So it's Uttrasana, but knees wide apart. But you're holding onto a side of ankle, whether it's a right foot or left foot, doesn't matter. Left reaching up. Breathe. Get that tension. Open, open, open. Just know where you need to engage, where you need to open, where you need to be guided. Come back. Now relax and twist onto the other side with your self-awareness. You're guiding a mind and a body, united to the spirit. Now lift up and right arm reaching up, if you can. So remember the thread that holding all these things in a limitation of the body, still the soul is not limited. Back to the center. And relax. Now shoulders relax, arms stretch onto the sides, give a good rotation, remove the static. So you're gently opening the doors, you're opening the windows for the ventilation of the space to come. Now knees together, coming into the space of the child pose. Now, healing is not because you have trauma. Healing is also coming through your trauma as grace. It is protecting you from falling back into the old psychological patterns. So even on the slightest conversation, just observe your gravity is to the old habit. When a tree grows, tree only does not grow on the visible to the world, but it has to have that develop the strong roots enough to carry what is the world is also seeing. So it's important that one support the other. Now, crown of the head onto the floor, lifting up the buttocks very gently, releasing further conflict, further friction. But if the conflict and friction happening in this moment in your consciousness and realization, it creates a spark that fires the transformation, the change. the season. If the conflict weigh you down, bring you down furthermore, hold on to your wound furthermore, then it is coming from, deriving from the ego, the tension. Roll back onto the third eye and fist us on the third eye. And just observe whether there is any disharmony that you have created, stopping that higher functioning. Now there is eyes that have a realized vision. Now there's a consciousness that bring relief beyond what is right, what is wrong, what is black, what is white, what is rich, what is poor. Now this is a moment, wake up the spine, give up the fight until you see the light. See, now the fight is in the same mind, the duality. So this is where we come as non-duality. One part of the mind runs to the other part. Now very gently stretch the legs into the front. Shake the hands, shake the legs, release any temporary blinded in the body, mind. Now pull out the buttocks, bend the knees slightly, feet mat width apart, arms raised onto the ground. Very gently, the process is rolling forward with willingness. Now, whatever your life is going through, you might feel like this area is declining, this area is abundance, but with consciousness, whatever is happening, with due course, you will understand what the flow shall return. There is no need to fixate and become afraid of this. Remember, your fear is always coming out of your conditioning, habitual, distorted perception. So when this happens, your ego welcome you back again. But your consciousness will give you an accurate reflection of what is taking place. Be kind to the fearful past. And let this moment be a place of healing as you're opening up into your wakening up into breathing in very gently, coming back. Shoulders relaxed, chest open. Shoulders roll back, open the chest. Open the chest. Arms stretch into the back, open the chest, elevate the heart, open up. It's calling up for the generosity and the grace to support furthermore into the healing. Do not close yourself. Open your heart and let things in. Now palms onto the floor into the back and very gently coming either into the tabletop or sole of the feet. Pulling down, wherever it's open up, or open up, open up. It's easy to open up from the body without reacting. Now come back, shoulders relaxing, just open. Now coming to a seated position. Well, this is the time that we can consciously come into the chaos of the mind. Have I find the right teacher? Have I find the right path? Do I need to go? Do I need to go? There, here. Take a moment, just observe whether you're subjected to doubts and where those doubts are rising from. Some of you may be subjected to delay with some manifestation. Where does that come from? Now, just be careful that the mind will subdue your spirit. The wisdom that you have come from is remarkable. So see this class as a gentle reminder to drop everything and come back into that space of trust, into the depth. Take a deep breath in, arms raised onto the ground. Breath out, twist the spine to the right, stomach very gently pulling in. Releasing the tension of world matters. Forgetting there is a beautiful inner journey happening for us in this very moment. So this is just tuning into it. Like we are taking a dip in that great restorative well ocean. Back to the same. Arms raised onto the ground. Twisting the spine to the other side. Back to the center. Shoulders relaxed, chest open. Elevate that space of the heart, space of the grace, space of that higher consciousness. And let that purification through the breath happening, the process. So now there is consciousness, a light, a purification. Arms very gently raising, attaining the clarity into the ground. So whatever is being brought into your attention today, bring the palms onto the space of the crown. The attention is done so that it free you from the constriction and deception. Third eye, throat, heart. Whatever is happening in your heart and soul will be fed by it. The practice is good tidying up. Solar plexus, navel, and Muladhara. Very gently, arms raised back into the crown. Taking that moment of pause. With that pause, the creation cannot happen. Touch the earth, giving this opportunity for the body and the mind for its replenishment in a world level. For today, we have given you spaciousness to the practice. Allow that to refresh and more constructive consciousness of you to merge in rest, settling deep into your being. Now very gently coming back, comes onto the Namaskar position. In that recalibrating and replenishing and resuming your day. Namaste. So good to see you all, and I love you all. As you see, when it's progressing, we are going more deeper into the depth of the ocean, where we no longer in the space of the current, the wave, identification of the wind. We are very gently sinking into the depth of our being, where the manifestation was a minute part. But the mind only understands things in large in proportion. But the depth of your being understand these things much more deeply. So if something is not happening to you, this is a greater time to give it rest. Save in the practice and watering the seeds, and it will come into that fusion very gently, into that blossoming. But the mind wants to force things because it works on time. For spirit, doesn't matter whether it's like 550 births. One thing it has is patience. So today, for your deeper contemplation of the being, whether you're resting with some level of food, a ritual, a book, spending time with your pets, doing something, task is also great for the body. There's a beautiful sun there, there's a beautiful light there. Not that we are attached to those moments, but take your journey a little bit more further and drink lots of water and ask yourself, why did you come to this space of this practice today? I'm not so much about what you want out of it, what it has given as a space of need and understanding. Well, my practice is waking up every morning and I work with myself and with Desa in the space of aged care. And I see a lot of difficulties. And it's challenging me because I question myself, is this all to life in my human understanding? But I think it's a great realization. It doesn't have to be always happy. Mine can be sad and gloomy. and ask all these inquiries, but I sit in that space when all that can sometimes overwhelm me uh, with my own difficulties. And when I see other people having difficulty, I sometimes feel like there is no hope. But my realization, not the realization itself, my has lost its grip on the practice. So we come into that space of understanding. My love to you all. It's great to see you all. Big hugs to Sylvia, Matt, Liz, Maria, big hugs, and Melissa. Love you all. And I don't know where does I go. Love you all. Bye.